So our responsibility is not just as usual, it is doubled now. Ensuring the data interoperability while embedding security and privacy by design is key. And now when you ask that what stood out for me was the shift from my thinking about the cybersecurity. Till date, I was thinking cybersecurity is just a compliance checklist. But when I joined this type of project and contributed towards the national project, took a shift from that compliance checklist to a public trust enabler. So we have to look at the cybersecurity as a public trust enabler always, right? That's the key. We had to address both technology and perception, assuring to the entire citizen of our country that their data was safe in the system that they can't see but needed to trust.
Right.
And the such movement, I would say, which was really aligning the cybersecurity framework with the India stack, right? And broader DPI ecosystem. Because when you are developing the ABDM, so you need to integrate the identity, that is Aadhaar, the payment system, and the health system.
Hi, you're watching The Mainstream. I am Simran Shivalkar, your host for today, and we are back with a new episode of Wonder Women in Cyber. Today, we are joined by Ms. Sarita Padmini. Sarita, firstly, thank you so much for being a part of the series and joining us today.
Thank you, Simran. I'm really humbled to be here.
Absolutely, and well, the pleasure is totally mine. That being said, I will quickly take this opportunity to share a few things about you and introduce you as well. Shall I?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Well, Sarita Padmini, she's currently a board member at Women in Cybersecurity as well as a senior director at Protivity India. If Sarita Padmini would be at the helm if digital security had a command center, and let me explain why. From Aadhaar to Ayushman Bharat, she has helped secure some of the India's biggest digital missions. A strategist, an advisor, as well as an advocate for women in tech, she blends deep expertise with a clear vision and also delivers with impact. Under 40 and already a cyber influencer, she proves that you can lead national change and still be a full-time working mom. In today's episode, we will take a deep dive into her journey. We'll explore how she shapes policy, breaks barriers, and redefines cybersecurity leadership. Sarita, thank you once again for being a part of this episode. Like I said, you've been a part of some of the India's most impactful digital projects, from Aadhaar to Ayushman Bharat. Can you tell us how this journey has been and what have been some of the key moments that have perhaps shaped your perspective?
Thanks again, Simran, because that was really a very generous introduction that you have given for me. And I really loved like the one that you mentioned about working mom. I hope if that can inspire women, that would be really, I find my life to be fulfilled. Okay. So you rightly said I was really fortunate to get the opportunity to work closely with very great leaders like Dr. Indu Bhushan, who was the founder, CEO of Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission. Shri J. Satyanarayana, he was the senior advisor there and is currently with the World Economic Forum. And Shri Kiran Anandam Pillai, he is part of iSpirit and he was heading the India's digital healthcare architecture over there. He was quite instrumental in guiding. So why this journey of my life was, when it started, during the inception phase itself, I got immense of learning. Definitely, I would like to share that across because these leaders tell me from the day zero that always keep in mind, we are not just building a platform, we are designing the security foundation for a national mission that would handle sensitive health data of over 1 billion citizens. It's the most critical data, right? So our responsibility is not just as usual, it is doubled now. Ensuring the data interoperability while embedding security and privacy by design is key. And now when you ask that what stood out for me was the shift from my thinking about the cybersecurity. Till date, I was thinking cybersecurity is just a compliance checklist. But when I joined this type of project and contributed towards the national project, took a shift from that compliance checklist to a public trust enabler. So we have to look at the cybersecurity as a public trust enabler always, right? That's the key. We had to address both technology and perception, assuring to the entire citizen of our country that their data was safe in the system that they can't see but needed to trust.
Right.
And the such movement, I would say, which was really aligning the cybersecurity framework with the India stack, right? And broader DPI ecosystem. Because when you are developing the ABDM, so you need to integrate the identity, that is Aadhaar, the payment system, and the health system. That gives you the cross-sector approach to risk, resiliency, and the governance.
Fantastic. Well, Sarita, like you've said, right from thinking that just a compliance checklist to actually knowing the nitty-gritties of cybersecurity and now, of course, becoming a leader. From what we have observed so far, leadership in cybersecurity comes with its own set of challenges. When you're a woman who is at a leadership position, can you tell us a bit about these challenges? And do you think what shift needs to be still there when we talk about women who are leading in this field?
See, there are a lot of challenges. Definitely, you, me, all across, we know that we all have a different set of challenges in our own life, right? So I would definitely not talk about a lot about the challenges, because we know we have to deal with our internal fear, across the circumstances. That's all known challenges. It's high time that we are focusing how to overcome that and how to move forward. We are sitting at 2025 right now. We have to lead with confidence and we have to break the barrier. Because see, cybersecurity is a domain which is a blend of technical depth, strategic thinking, and emotional intelligence. And I feel we as a women really need to develop the emotional intelligence a lot. Okay. So if I talk about myself, I felt like staying grounded in the fundamentals, holding to the technical depth, and being proactive, continuously learning about emerging technologies or the evolving threats. And lastly, I would say having the courage, okay, to speak up or ask the tough question brought me here. Because I really strongly believe that credibility is built over the time through action, consistency, and commitment to excellence. Yeah. So that's something we all need to do. And this is just our individual effort. But apart from our individual effort, I see there are a lot to do from the system if the system is not being supportive. We have taken a shift, but I feel there are few more levels that we need to jump so that we have this inclusions in place. So I would say primarily 2 points. I'm again not talking about biasness and all that. We all are working hard in order to remove all these barriers. So as we are having this session of mainstream, so that the messages have been around, right? So I would talk about two different and unique again, which is high time in 2025, specifically in India, and towards the leadership position. So elevate the diverse leadership styles, because there is a fundamental shift which is required in redefining what leadership looks like in cybersecurity, because it is always too often that it has been framed through a narrow traditional lens, right?
Right.
It has always been looked up as an aggressive, always on, and hyper technical. So that image tends to exclude not just women. I have seen anyone who leads through empathy, collaboration, or strategic vision, they get this fear not to move ahead because they have fear towards that aggressiveness and that hyper technical, always on attitude, right? But that needs to be elevated, and we have to think about a new, different leadership style which has value towards the emotional intelligence as much as the technical acumen. That's one. Second, I would say creating an inclusive ecosystem is very important. We have talked about workplaces, so it's beyond workplaces. What I feel, it's not just women at the work. Also, we need an inclusive environment at home where their wins, their passion are celebrated and supported.
Absolutely. Well, you talk about inclusion, having that kind of inclusion, whether it's in tech or cybersecurity, and for women. From your journey, what have been some of the key moments where you felt, being included, or where you felt that the shift is taking, it's there in place?
There are many places I have been, felt like the inclusion has been taken. I would give a lot of credits to my family itself. Okay. I have been supported my seniors, my mentors at work, where we have taken this service, inclusion.
Fantastic. Again, moving on, Sarita, you've built cybersecurity strategies right from national level to enterprise levels as well. When you're starting from scratch, when you're starting or when you're beginning up, or what are some of the non-negotiable non-negotiables that you always get right or that you think are the first mandates?
If I talk about the non-negotiable, Simran, I can think three quick points which can come into my mind. One is the data-centric security, protect crown jewels, because protecting the infrastructure alone is no longer enough. So there are adversary is after the data. We all know, be it personal data, strategic data, financial data. So they are behind all these type of data. And strategies that we are using must revolve around the data lifecycle and contextual risk, not just endpoints or the system. So because we cannot protect what we don't know,
Right.
which is existing, right? So complete set of inventory of all this different type of data, including both personal and confidential data, is really fundamental that I feel. Okay. Coming to the second point, which is again very critical that you might have already heard and everyone who actually is into the cybersecurity and getting prepared or organizations. It's a very key term that there is a buzzword of zero trust architecture. Never trust, always verify. So that's again another non-negotiable that I can say. ZTA really eliminates the perimeter-based assumption that everyone has. So for both nation states and enterprises, internal threats, compromised credentials, and supply chain breaches are major risks. We have seen many recent examples. So without having a zero trust architecture, even the most advanced tools fail to contain threats post compromise, right? So that really we have seen it has been failed. Every user, device, and workload must be authenticated and authorized continuous. No implicit trust period has to be there. We have to always verify. That's the second one. The third one, I would say, we must always take the risk-based approach. One size fits all does not work.
Right.
So we need threat modeling tailored to the mission. There has to be a continuous evaluation of the evolving threat, vulnerabilities, and the business impact, which is really essential. So the business aligned risk tolerance should be there. Every decisions that we are making from the cybersecurity perspective has to be driven by the impact to the mission or the operation or the business, not a generic compliance. That's again really the risk-based approach has to be taken. So like having said that, I would say trying to secure everything equally leads to failure.
Right.
That's we have always seen. So a mature strategy prioritizing risk reduction based on criticality, exposure, and the impact would be something I would suggest as non-negotiable.
Thank you so much for kind of throwing light on that, Sarita. I'm going to touch a topic that's already making a buzz, AI. We've already heard about emerging technologies, AI and its branches, Gen AI, agentic AI. I mean, it's powering innovation, but it is also kind of giving rise to new and emerging threats. So from your perspective, how are you able to see this as a threat and an opportunity both when we talk about the cybersecurity landscape? Anything that cybersecurity leaders should be paying attention to in particular?
Okay, that's again very interesting. AI is double-edged sword, you can say. Okay, you can't stay without it, and you have to be very, very cautious while using it, right? So definitely we all know AI is reshaping the cybersecurity by enabling faster threat detection, predictive analytics, and automated response. But it is also powering advanced attacks like deepfakes. It's again everywhere. It's flooded across internet, right? AI generated phishing and autonomous malware. So India as a country is integrating AI into its digital public infrastructure that we all know from our PM speech and all the announcement across, using it to the secure platforms like Aadhaar and UPI, while advancing the trusted AI guidelines. Because you might have heard about Niti Aayog and certain collaboratively working on the AI guidelines. So that we are waiting for those guidelines to come up so that the organization can adopt. And Global has also started working on such guidelines which can support the ethical AI across, right? So leaders, my advice to the leaders would be to prioritize AI governance, and bring the supply chain transparency and defense against the synthetic threats, because they must also ensure that the AI tools in security operation are explainable, ethical, and aligned with the compliance standards. So when I'm saying explainable, it means insist on AI that is transparent and auditable.
Right.
Okay. And when I'm saying ethical, it's a AI governance has to be in place, define ethical boundaries and the accountability. So that's again very, very important. The way the rise of AI uses is going on. So that's definitely brings the advantage, but we have to follow these principles. And lastly, the AI literate teams. So nothing can be achieved without educating our team or the creating the awareness. The team on ground. So they needs to be trained, okay, to work with AI, right? And not just fear for it. So they need to know how to work with artificial intelligence. If they would always be keeping themselves away from the AI and treating it as something which is devil in the house, then we can't fight it. So be ready that workforce needs to be prepared on ground.
Thank you so much, Sarita, for sharing your insights on AI. Well, like you just said, threat landscape is also evolving fast. Next, I want to understand from you, beyond the traditional checklist of cybersecurity leaders, what are some of the key factors that are, keeping you up at nights, or what are the priorities for cybersecurity leaders these days?
See, the beyond checklist, I think I would first talk about myself. At least I really, the things that keep me up, the gaps in the mindset. Okay. That's very, very, what is the right word? Very concerning for me.
Correct.
The too many organizations treat cybersecurity as a compliance box, because I started with that, and there are a lot of researchers is talking about, which is it has to be enforced either by some sectoral regulations. So then it comes to compliance. Okay. We have to consider cyber resiliency and cybersecurity and think it's all about agility. Okay. Because it's beyond audit. Cyber resiliency is about agility. It's not just an audit. Okay. So we have to prioritize looking at the evolving threat landscape. So the prioritization should, again, as I said, cyber hygiene for the human play very critical role, because extensively we are seeing phishing is still alarming, be it using the AI solution or whatever. So phishing is very old technique and continuously is being used in order to exploit. Yeah. Second, I would say supply chain risk, because we all know in recent past so many buzz across the world happened around the supply chain risk, and this is actually evolving through this emerging technology uses. So the most breaches are coming through this third parties only. We have to prioritize these risks. And third, we spoke about again implement the zero trust. You cannot just have it as part of the slogan, but embed it as part of your architecture, right? So everybody, like you talk about the India stack, everywhere we are talking about the zero trust. It's a high time that everybody is embedding and truly implementing zero trust in the system. Because remember, if we want to succeed in cyberspace, we have to assume it's contested always.
Absolutely.
That mindset has to be created.
Absolutely. Sarita, you spoke about the gap in the mindset and the whole idea of having this zero trust policy. For those navigating the complex world of cybersecurity, whether it's a CISO, whether it's a policymaker, or somebody who's, just a leader who's starting out, what's your best practice or any key recommendations or any go-to advice for staying grounded yet effective, resilient, and also future ready at the same time?
Whether you are a CISO or a student, my advice would be stay curious, collaborate widely, and communicate very simply. Because cybersecurity is not about the fear, it's about the trust and assurance that we are bringing into the system. So, ensuring that is very important. Second, I would say you have already said, like, staying grounded in purpose is very important, not paranoia. That's really, really very critical. Third, I would say continuously keep learning, because the best leaders I have worked with, I spoke about all the leaders at the beginning, my mentor, even like Rama Vedashri is one of my mentor, who is the former CEO of DLCI. And she is really a great leader and one of my role models. So I have seen them always staying humble and hungry. So that hunger towards the learning, knowing the environment would help us navigating this complexity, the world of cybersecurity. That's the key. Leverage the international platform, collaborate widely so that the knowledge sharing and that happens. We need to stay ahead with that, keep ourselves updated, create the awareness across, always communicate very simply. That's something. And lastly, we can say let the purpose guide our path and learning our growth.
Absolutely. I mean, I think we all can take some inspiration from that, staying humble and hungry, having your power fueled by your purpose, and of course, staying grounded and working collectively with collaboration, with the mindset of collaboration. I think this goes beyond cybersecurity as well. So, thank you so much, Sarita, for some lovely, incredible insights, giving us a glimpse of your journey, your leadership style, and sharing these stories today on this episode. While we conclude, I most certainly look forward to connect back with you again on a lot of other different conversations.
Thank you.
Thank you.